Your name is Aradia Megiddo. For one sweep, you were dead. It made you a real gloomy bitch. You were killed by one of your Moirails, Salik's captor, with a psionic blast, killing you instantly and disintegrating you into atoms. You don't blame him for it. It wasn't his fault. Luckily for you, you had an extra life. For the sweep that you were dead, Durst was where you roamed, the purple cobblestones beneath your feet serving as your stomping grounds. You'd awoken on Durst every time you slept since you were hatched, and now that you died, Durst felt like your reality, Alternia being a horrible dream. But you knew deep down it wasn't a dream. Soon your friends would join you in your dream. It would be their new reality, too. On Durst, you even learned to talk to some of your old friends back on Alternia. Some of them didn't even know you died, like a ghost in the system, haunting Alternia from the great beyond. But you still couldn't bring yourself to talk to Salix. On Durst, you saw so much. The rise and fall of the Midnight Crew, the sordid battle between good and evil, the nefarious tenacity of the Black Queen. You learned the superstitions and lore of Durst and its black-shelled carapations. You sat in rapt attention in coffee shops and corner bars as the patrons explained to you their hatred of Prospect and Prospect's dreamers and symbols. You noticed one thing in particular, though, the Dursite fixation on the frog. Frogs and their iconography were treated as extreme contraband to your amusement, for reasons that were never explained to you. Still, your days of frightening the locals by screaming "Frog!" in crowded places and gigglingly fleeing into the kerfuffle drew to a close once you heard the news of your friends entering the game. You knew it was time. Thank you for getting me into the game, Equius.
Not a problem, Miss Lowblood.
How is my commission going?
Your commission is trivial. A robot in the shape of your body. It is complete, in less than a day, I might add.
Okay.
I do not know why you asked me to construct a robot for you with an empty vessel for its central motherboard. Even if powered on, it shall not work. I will say, however, I have managed your image spittingly. So spittingly, in fact, I have, on occasion, felt attraction towards it. Caressed it, even.
Why did you caress it?
It is a compliment, Lowblood. Please take it as such.
It's not a compliment to caress someone without permission. In fact, it's very weird.
Fine. Either way, it is finished. Where should I send it? I have heard allegations that you are, in fact, deceased. If my theory is true, you wish for this robot so your ghostly soul may inhabit it from the afterlife.
Your guess is pretty close.
In that case, how are you going to receive my gift? It's not like the mail can be carried to the great beyond.
I'll handle it. Where's the robot now?
Laying svelte upon my desk.
Okay. Durst was not the afterlife, but your dreaming self had powers that your waking body did not. For starters, a way to transmit yourself into a body to inhabit it. A more superstitious person might call it possession. Salix had always told you such a thing was possible, that the very soul could be copied and toyed with, but you never understood what he meant. His theories were the reason you were able to live on. You hoped this might give him closure, since he was the one who killed you. His knowledge mingled with the craftsmanship of a beloathed foe to give you another chance at a mechanical life. Or in simpler words, you'd found a way to put your brain in a robot some misogynist just made. So you did. Sadly, this meant your dream self would need to be put out of commission. A life for a life, it seemed. You descended into the depths of Durst, a cavernous dungeon below the tower you called your home. Inside of this chamber were cocoons, the same style of cocoon that you slept in on Alternia, each one emblazoned with a mark denoting one of the aspects of reality, each one belonging to a player in your game session. You slid into the cocoon marked with a hieroglyph that you'd once been fixated on, the 12-pronged circle of time, the cylindrical wheel in the sky that heralded the passage of moments into one another. the thing that turned order into chaos. You entered the cocoon and closed your eyes. There was one brief moment of total and utter non-existence, like the breath being expelled from your lungs. Then in an instant, your consciousness snapped into place. With your eyes opened, they were mechanical eyes of silicon and steel. You sat upright like a possessed doll. You were in the body the misogynist had made for you now. "Sweet fuck above," said the misogynist as you manifested in his room, as your eyes swept over him. Your body felt new and alien, different proportions and weights within your frame than you were used to. You tested your new arms by reaching up to cup his cheek. This tender touch was followed by a hard metal clang as you smacked him across the head. "That's for feeling my body up, creep," you say, stomping your new metal feet to his window and leaping out. By the time you had entered your metal body, your peers were in the game and Alternia was long gone. You weren't particularly sad, and you aren't now. After extricating yourself from Equius's hive and navigating to your land, the land of quartz and melody, you finally did what you could not in your death: reunite with him. "Hello, Solix."
Fuck. Okay, hardy har har. You got into Radia's account, Vriska. You're hilarious. You're really fucked up. Do you know that?
"This isn't Vriska, it's me."
Then why are you hemotyping in blue?
"Oh, right. I have blue blood now. Sort of. It's actually machine lubricant."
I have no idea what to make of this. But this is some sick fucking joke, so cut it out. Aradia's dead. I don't know why this has come up so fucking much lately. If you're Aradia, prove it, dipshit.
Okay. Ask me something only I would know.
What's the most astounding feature of my biology?
Solix, come on.
Answer me!
This is idiotic. Your most astounding bodily feature is your two bulges.
Oh my god. Aradia, you're alive? How are you alive?
I'm not alive.
I feel like we're splitting hairs here, because maybe you're technically dead, but you're still talking to me. Functionally speaking, I'm comfortable calling that alive.
Okay. In a more nuanced way, my dream self is controlling my new mechanical body from Durs.
That explains the machine lubricant. Whatever's happening, whatever you are now, I missed you so much, Aradia.
I missed you too, Solix.
I don't know how you can talk to me, since I was the one who...
Solix, you didn't kill me. I know it wasn't you.
Sure, I didn't kill you, as in I didn't make the choice to go to your hive and start blasting my psionic powers, but I was the one who did it. My body, my abilities.
There's only one person who could have done something like that. We both know who it was.
Aradia.
She has to pay. Vriska has to pay. Though this was a happy reunion, a new emotion surged in your chest. Rage. You had another lease on life, and you were going to use it to its full potential. Which brings us to the present. You are no longer Aradia Megiddo. You are now a human reading Karkat's lore document. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Aries at their best are sympathetic, punctual, and detail-oriented. Aries at their worst are wrathful, stubborn, and prone to vengeance. Aries' horoscope is, dig deeper to find hidden truth. Hello, I'm Aradia. Dave has already met me. Karkat wants me to contribute to this document since I was the most present during the final battle, but the final battle is much less interesting than what I have to tell you. I think you'll find my story enlightening. How would you like to learn about cheat codes? Let me start at the beginning. I didn't spend much time on my land because I was pretty busy being dead, and by the time I had been revived, everyone else had reached the game's end. Right, I died a sweep ago and was recently put in a robot body. It's no big deal. Anyway, the final fight. Solix and Karkat came up with a plan that hinged mostly on using my abilities. I'm a time player, the Maid of Time, and my powers included being able to see doomed versions of myself. I'm explaining this badly. Dave can explain doomed timelines if you want, but here's the rundown. Unless you do very specific actions, your timeline will become doomed and impossible. There are millions of these, possibly an infinite amount, all of them fading away from relevance, like branches on a tree. The main timeline, the one we're all on, is like the trunk of the tree. Basically, my power is to see the branches of the tree and use the doomed Aradias from those timelines as helpers. That's a very bad explanation. I had to explain my power in a more functional sense. I can summon alternate versions of myself to fight for me. Sometimes I chat with these alternate me's. They're very nice. This is a powerful ability, but it's not the cheat code I was talking about. It has probably been said already, but our final fight against the Black King was supposed to be impossible. Every one of our guardians had been prototyped to work against us, the Black King taking on the form of our own parents, from Karkat's crab dad to Gamzee's mergoat, and worst of all, Fefri's many-tentacled guardian. Dave and Karkat tell me you face an even more insurmountable challenge, a Black King with the powers of your first guardian. I am still not entirely clear for what reason your first guardian Beck leapt into Jade's sprite, but I am not convinced it was some random happenstance. We're very much alike, you know. Our session was insurmountable, as is yours, yet it seems by chance we were able to snatch victory from the jaws of horrifying defeat. This was not done, as Karkat or Solix say, with luck, but with cunning. See, I had one final trick up my sleeve. Here's a question. What is the purpose of prototyping? It all seems rather esoteric, doesn't it? A random afterthought. You all remember doing it, I'm sure, placing an item into the mysterious kernel before entering the game. Rose's cat, June's grandmother, Jade's pet, and Dave's doppelganger. For us, it was much the same, a decision that didn't seem important. But it was important. Prototyping is the first step into game entry. The first step is to free the kernel. It is also the last step, defeating the king who is powered up with your prototyped items. Why? The answer is easy. The kernel requires tributes to seed its challenges, to give a familiar face to the world of the medium, to shape it. Otherwise, each session would be the same carapations, the same moons, the same Skya. Every session must have variation, mutation. Much like every fertilized egg must have variation and mutation to be viable to undergo evolution. If the game is the way universes reproduce, kernels and prototyping are the way universes achieve genetic diversity. They take items and things from an old universe and create something new with it. That is why a session without prototypings is sterile. That is why it is better to have prototyped an eldritch monstrosity or a nuclear first guardian than to have prototyped nothing at all. Our unfortunate prototypings made our chances at success slim, but slim is better than impossible. When I entered the game, Equius was in charge of completing my entry. Like he told you, he placed my items down in my empty hive, yet I managed to enter the game without issue. This is because I was already inside the game. More accurately, since I died on Alternia, my consciousness was transported to Durst, where my dreaming self was. It was like a glitch. I had used my extra life before the game had begun. This meant, however, that my entry was still botched. I still had to prototype something from Alternia, otherwise my kernel would be sterile. As discussed, this would have been very bad. At the same time, unlike every other one of my peers, I could not prototype my mother because my mother was long gone, dead in the same accident that I was killed in. What to use then? Any random item inside my hive would do, but prototyping can't be done randomly. I had to think it through. I had a chance to change the very nature of the game itself. The last chance, for I was the last prototype my kernel entirely. Tavros has no doubt told you about my penchant for archaeology. He told you of the subterranean frog ruins we discovered, and the code Solix turned into the game, Scrub. Inside these ruins was a keepsake I had always held as a good luck charm, a statue of the ruins in miniature, a frog atop a tall pedestal, like a trophy. It was something I didn't even think about at the time. I picked it up back then and took it home only because the doctor said it was important. Are you familiar with cheat codes, humans? The idea of something technically permitted by the game that nonetheless drastically changes its nature. Prototyping a frog is one such cheat code, a seemingly random act that made this game nearly trivial. The simple fact is that Dursites hate frogs. The reason for this I don't know, but I knew it from my time among them. Around the time I prototyped my frog statue was around the time of Operation Regisurp, and once the queen took the form of a frog, she refused to wear the ring that gave her the powers of our prototypings. The Dursites stopped manufacturing imps due to their frog-like appearances. Enemies stopped appearing in our session entirely. The war on Prospect ground to a halt. The Black King, unable to relinquish his own source of power, went mad with wrath, rendering him no less destructive but far less focused. All because of my little frog cheat. It is my belief, humans, that you need to discover a cheat of your own. Perhaps one has already been woven into your session. Perhaps one can be discovered. There's no need to play the game on its own terms after all, not when the stakes are so unbearably high. In other words, don't despair. I'm rooting for you. Now, I have to go. Someone is messaging me. 2 people, actually.
Editor's note. Hey, Aradia, real quick. How did you die? No one will explain it to me.
Oh, Dave. It's pretty simple, actually. Solix killed me because of a mind thing.
Editor's note. Yeah, he said as much.
Then what do you need to be clarified on?
All of it.
I don't know. It's all pretty self-explanatory. He killed me with eye lasers because of revenge mind control. I'm sure something similar has happened to you.
Editor's note. No, humans don't have eye lasers or mind control. We do have revenge, I guess.
Dave, I really have to go. I'm sure this will all be explained eventually. I really have to answer these messages.
Aradia. Been a while, hasn't it?
I guess.
You've noticed by now, haven't you?
Notice what?
I'm not dead.
Oh, lucky you, Vriska. Rub it in, why don't you?
I guess we're even now, aren't we?
That's what this is all about to you, isn't it? Getting even. How does this make us even?
I use Solix to kill you, then you don't die. Then you come try to kill me, and I don't die.
So you finally admit it. You were the one who made Solix kill me. Not that it wasn't obvious, you're the only person who could use revenge mind control. But if you're worried about getting even, don't bother. I'm done trying to kill you. I got out all my frustrations that day on your land of maps and treasure. I don't care what you do now.
Glad to hear it. If the wood chopping implement is buried, Aradia, how about you listen to my little proposition?
I'm not listening to anything you propose.
We're going to have to deal with this demon sooner or later, Aradia. Those humans aren't going to help us. They're the ones who sent Bec Noir in the first place.
I know they aren't going to help us. It's not their job to help us. We are going to have to deal with Bec Noir ourselves, because even if they sent him, it's our problem. What's your stupid proposition?
You and me, the strongest ones. We go fight the demon.
The strongest ones? Are you trying to flatter me even after everything? Let me think. No.
Ugh, predictable. Whatever, Lamagito.
Hi, Aradia. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Tavros.
Sorry, I just kind of missed you. Is this a bad time?
It's fine. Sorry I haven't reached out. It's just you've been spending all your time with her.
With Vriska? Yeah, she's kind of fun.
Fun? She's the reason you're in a wheelchair.
She's also the reason I have a rocket chair, so kind of a wash?
Kind of a wash?
Okay, that's lame, but she's cool now, okay?
If you say so.
What do you think of Karkat's plan?
The plan to have the humans help us? I don't know what he thinks is going to happen. His plan is to have them initiate a scratch, but all he's done so far is explain in detail how idiotic our session was. It's not like it matters in the end.
What do you mean?
Events are already in motion, Tavros. Something is going to happen soon, something on this meteor. We shouldn't be worrying about the humans. We should be worrying about ourselves. There are 12 of us here with a lot of history, most of it incredibly painful. We've all hurt each other, and if Karkat thinks that all of our stupid drama got left behind on Alternia, he's delusional. All of us aren't going to survive this, cooped up in a tiny meteor like a pressure cooker.
Ooh, that's pretty scary. I'm gonna choose to not think about that and hope that it doesn't actually happen.
You've changed a lot, Tavros.
Thanks.
That wasn't a compliment.
Oh.
Homestuck Alternate Universe is written, produced, and narrated by Funk McLovin. Also featuring Janaya as Kanaya, AE as Terezi, Bucky as Karkat, Pakin as Tavros, Shrimp as Nepeta, Technically Dead as Solix, Harper as Vriska, Eclippi as Gamzee and Equius, and West as Pfeffery. Illustrations are by Sunny Dionysus and Gastro. Please support Homestuck Alternate Universe on patreon.com/funkmclovin for early access, behind the scenes, and bonus features, but mostly you simply support the efforts of independent creators. Homestuck was written by and is the creation of Andrew Hussie. Thank you for listening.